Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I like to talk about anxiety, specifically health anxiety, based on my experiences and how I was able to overcome that without the use of medications and by doing inner healing work. So if this is something that may be of interest to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. It helps my little channel grow, and it also lets me know that you're interested and it's something that either you can relate to or it will actually help you out. So with that being said, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, I wanted to talk about what my specific health anxiety thing was for so long, and that is cardiophobia. So before I share my experience with cardiophobia, I wanted to just read to you a little bit about what it actually is. So cardiophobia is a specific phobia in which an individual has an irrational fear that they will have a heart attack. People with this phobia lose insight that the symptoms they're experiencing, such as shortness of breath, are due to anxiety, and instead conclude that the symptoms are due to a heart attack. So cardiophobia is a type of pathophobia, which is the fear of death. That's a video for another day. So I've also learned that hypochondria and the health anxiety have a little bit to do with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So individuals with cardiophobia have persistent, unwanted, and intrusive thoughts about heart-related issues, which, like I said, is considered an obsessive compulsive obsession. So people with cardiophobia try to resolve or suppress the anxiety and emotional responses to the obsessions by performing compulsive behaviors. Compulsions of cardiophobia include tracking heart rate, pulse, seeking unnecessary medical attention, and the worst, surfing the internet for information. And we also tend to avoid strenuous activities. So my experience with my cardiophobia started back in 2008. In September of 2008, I had my first panic attack. If you haven't watched that video, I'll put it up here somewhere if you'd like to check that out. But long story short, as I was being wheeled into the emergency room at the time, there was a person who she looked at me because I was clutching my chest, and she just said, "Oh my God, that woman is having a heart attack." For whatever reason, that thought stuck with me, no matter what the doctor said to me, because again, I had never experienced a panic attack before. I just didn't believe it. I legit thought, I'm having a heart attack, something is wrong. And that's what happens. Your body is just like, who cares what the doctor says? I know my body, something is wrong. After being checked out and they do the whole little EKG thing, at that time, I didn't get like the full workup, stress test, any of that. They just said, hey, listen, you're fine. You had a panic attack. I'm in denial. I'm like, look, here I am, 27, 28 years old. I'm like, I've never had a panic attack in my life. What are you talking about? Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Of course, after that, I became completely obsessed with the idea of I'm gonna die of a heart attack anytime soon. Nobody's listening to me. So of course I went off, got second opinions. Before I was 30, I had stress tests, echocardiograms, the whole bit. Was still told, your heart's fine, your heart is healthy, it's very strong, it's normal, you're okay. I still did not believe that. At the time, I became absolutely just obsessed with my heart rate, listening to it, just focusing on, is anything wrong? When it comes to this part of cardiophobia, you do experience the shaking, the sweating, the rapid heartbeat, the tightness in your chest, the dizziness, feelings of numbness, tingling. Like there's so many things that seem like it's a heart attack, but it's not. So for me, anytime I would experience these things, I would withdraw a little more. Like I would stop being so active because I was afraid that if I was really active, my heart's going to explode out of my chest. Worst one. I knew no matter where I went, no matter where I went, I could have been on vacation, out of state. It didn't matter. I knew where there was a hospital. And mind you, back in 2008, we didn't have, Google Maps wasn't around, I don't think. I think back then it was like MapQuest. Or you would do a quick search wherever it was that I was going and find where the nearest hospital was. I know it sounds horrible now. And if you're going through this right now, you're not alone. Don't be embarrassed. It's okay. I'm going to tell you how to begin to try and overcome this obsession so that you can lead a much better life. How I was functioning, I have no idea. I still went to work. I mean, I would always be freaked out. I never really told anybody what was happening other than my husband, of course, because we live together. So he's going to see me having these panic attacks and anxiety attacks, thinking I was having a heart attack. There were a bunch of times I ended up in the ER. I wouldn't even tell anyone. Like I would just freak out if I was alone at home, get in my car, go to the ER and get checked out. Sometimes I sat in the parking lot of the ER, and for whatever reason, and this is another sign how you know you have cardiophobia, like you're freaking out, but once you either enter the ER or you sit in that parking lot, it kind of like goes away. I know for those of you that don't experience this, that may be watching, it doesn't make sense to you. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds, this woman is insane. She's overreacting. But for people who do suffer with this, we're not overreacting. And unfortunately, it's something that continues to just nag at you in your brain, and you don't know where it's coming from. There was a time when my cardiophobia kind of went away. Not went away, but there was a point where I was able to manage it. I was able to live with it, accept it. It is what it is kind of mentality. But unfortunately, around 2013, I want to say it was like 2013, I had some routine blood work done, and my doctor, she immediately called, I guess the next day, and she said, I need you to go see a hematologist now. I made you an appointment. You need to go see this hematologist tomorrow. Are you available? When your doctor calls you with test results and tells you, I need you to go now, you're going to go. You're going to make it happen. So I did go to the hematologist the next day. When I went to this appointment, I didn't know what was going on. So I was told that my iron levels were super low. So he started asking me, are you short of breath? Do you get tired easily? Again, these are things that I was experiencing, which also led to thinking it was a heart attack about to happen, right? Because you're tired, you're dizzy, you're all these things. The doctor, when I said to him, you know what? Yeah. And at the time, you guys, again, I am 2013, I'm now in my 30s. I'm like 32, 33 years old. I was still thin, pretty healthy, pretty active, trying to be, not excessively because I'm afraid, my heart's going to freaking explode. There was no reason, in my opinion, and in the doctor's opinion, to be so tired all the time. So when he sat me down, he said to me, are you experiencing this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Why? What's going on? Like, I'm freaking out. Like, why is this? He said to me, and I quote, you are a walking heart attack waiting to happen, which didn't help my cardiophobia. Apparently, my iron levels were so low that I needed to start getting iron infusions. So that same day, he was like, today, we're going to give you your first iron infusion. So I sat there, I believe it was maybe 2 or 3 hours of just getting pumped full of iron, which didn't help the cardiophobia as it was, because according to doctors before that, my heart was fine. I had gone through the stress test and all that wonderful stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, it made my cardiophobia worse. My obsession after that became so bad that I learned how to take my own pulse. At the time, these funky little things didn't exist. So you couldn't just, tap on your little Apple Watch and check the pulse or the EKG or whatever. So I figured out a way, by Googling at this point, how to take my own pulse. So I did that. I had what do they call it? Stethoscope. I had a stethoscope. I bought one of those. I did so many things. I would sit I would lay in bed and literally it would be so quiet I can hear my own heartbeat and try to pay attention to that. So it became, I can see where this whole OCD, cardiophobia, and health anxiety all play together. I also have bradycardia. So if you don't know what bradycardia is, it's actually when your heart rate, your normal heart rate, resting heart rate, is between 40 and 60 beats per minute. The normal adult, it's like between 60 and 100. Now, I've always known that I have a low heart rate. Anytime I ever went to the hospital, you know how they put the little thing on you and they're watching the monitor. Anytime that monitor would drop like under 50, I would have a nurse come in and go, are you okay? And I'd be like, I'm fine. This is what it is. This is normal for me. So when me having that and experiencing this cardiophobia thing that I had to live with for so long, if my heart rate was like 80, which I know sounds ridiculous, okay? If my heart rate got above like 80, I'd start freaking out that something was wrong. Be it if I was sitting down or walking around or whatever the case may be. When I did my stress test, and I did do more than one throughout the years, I could go as high as like 125, 130, I think it was. And this is literally, you're running on this treadmill, right? It's not going to get any higher than that for me. So I obsessed over, my normal is this, my normal is that. So basically when this invention was made and it could do the heart rate thing for you, best believe I was the first one in line to get myself a little Apple Watch because again, I still, you guys, I dealt with this for about 10 years before I was able to go, holy cow, this isn't it. Like, what is happening? For me to be able to understand what was happening for me. Back then, we didn't have the, social media platforms that we do now. Like Facebook was Facebook, but it isn't what it is now. And TikTok didn't exist, Snapchat, all that other stuff. Instagram was a baby. Now there's so much information and it's so wonderful to see other people's stories and sharing their stories that, yeah, you do feel a little better because, oh man, this is what I am experiencing. This is the exact same thing. I'm not alone. I'm going to be okay. And all of that wonderful stuff. Now, as good as that is to be able to Google something, YouTube something, TikTok something to find out these symptoms and is there anybody else out there? Those are wonderful things, but at the same time, it acts as a form of reassurance. So if you do suffer from health anxiety, be it cardiophobia or any other phobia, the constant reassurance, you already know you're doing this all the time. You're Googling symptoms. And of course, you Google something and let's say you got like a scratch on your finger. All of a sudden you Google scratch on my finger and it's like, holy shit, my arm's going to fall off. Because Google, as we all know, is going to give you the worst case scenario before it says to you, just put a little Neosporin on your cut and put a Band-Aid on it. So part of what I'm trying to do with this particular channel is the way I was able to overcome these things is with inner healing work. So think shadow work, if you know what shadow work is, think journaling prompts. These questions are going to get to the root cause of what is causing these things for you, the triggers that make you just freak out and have these panic attacks and have anxiety and you want to Google and want a reassurance. We want to kind of get away from reassurance. And there's nothing wrong with doing that if that's where you are in your healing journey, because I did the same thing. I would look at YouTube videos. I would look at Google. I mean, I became a freaking expert in cardio anything, you know. I'm thinking I know more than the doctor, and duh, you kind of don't, right? But I needed to step away from that, and I understand that it's very hard to step away from that, but my way of, for me, again, this is based on my experiences and I'm hoping it can help you, is inner healing. We are going to ask some difficult questions so that you can get to the root cause of what's causing these things for you. So when me asking myself these questions, and I will have 10 for this video, and I will have them in the description box if you want to take a screenshot of them. In me asking myself these questions, and it's not just these 10. I have been doing this for a very long time, so I have a ton of questions. If you've seen any of the other videos, there are questions in the other videos as well. But in doing this inner healing and asking myself questions and really trying to get to the root cause of this, again, I don't take medication. I never did. I don't want it. I am what I call myself, a pillophobe. I'm afraid of medications. I am afraid of taking pills. That's a video for another day. But I've been this way since I was a kid when it comes to medications. So in doing this inner healing work and asking myself these questions, answering them as truthfully as I could, I figured out that my cardiophobia or health anxiety trigger was my grandmother passing away. So my first panic attack, like I said, was in September of 2008. And my grandmother passed away in February of 2008. And I didn't know it at the time, of course, that her passing would affect me as much as it did. She passed away in a hospital. It wasn't anything sudden or tragic or anything like that. But the only difference here is I was in the room, her family, not just me by myself. We were in the room with her when she passed away. Now, I don't know if watching that it triggered something in me in the back of my brain to where now I'm freaking out about, health, and I'm freaking out about life and how delicate life can be and all those things, right, that people experience when they lose a loved one. But being in the room and seeing it happen, I had never seen anyone pass away before that. And I thank the heavens that it was peaceful. It was a peaceful thing. Long story short, she was on machines, and the family had decided that we asked the doctor if the machines were kept taken off, would she live? And the doctor said, she could be alive for 2 minutes or she can be alive for 2 weeks. We just don't know. My grandmother didn't want to live that way. So, the decision was made that's what they were going to do, was to unplug it. You guys, my grandmother, when they took the machines off, she passed away literally within 2 minutes. But watching it for me, something happened. Something happened. And that is when, fast forward, 6-7 months later in September of 2008, I think that something just clicked, and that was the beginning of the end for me with my cardiophobia, panic attacks, anxiety, the whole nine. So that's why I stress the importance of these questions, because for so many years I couldn't understand why is this happening? Where is this coming from? I just didn't know. I'm going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over here, trying to figure out, where is this coming from? I'd never had a panic attack before. I don't know what's going on. This is why these questions are so important. So yes, let's get into today's questions. There are 10 questions for you this week. Again, these are not based on specifically for cardiophobia itself. This can be for anxiety. This can be for anything. This could be even a normal person, whatever normal means for you. can ask themselves these questions just to find out who they really are, why they are the way that they are. But I firmly believe in this specific type of inner healing and healing without the use of medication. I'm also going to give the disclaimer. I know I put it in the beginning of my videos, but I'm going to say always seek medical professional opinions. Make sure that everything is ruled out as far as, you know, your heart, if that is what your phobia is concerned, so that you actually do know that what you are experiencing is cardiophobia. And if you are someone who's on medications for your anxiety or anything, that's still okay. Okay. It's healing. I don't look down upon any of that. Just for me specifically, I don't like pills. And like I said, I will make a video about that another day, because again, through asking these questions, I was able to track where this stems from. So let's get ready for this week's questions. Get your pen and paper ready, or take a screenshot of each question, or like I said, they'll be down in the description box. You can screenshot those. But here we go. So question 1 is, what made me start doubting myself as a kid? Question 2 is, what aspects of my life do I project onto others in an unhealthy way? Question 3. What is something my younger self would be surprised about me now? Question 4. What emotion do I try to avoid? What makes me afraid to feel it? And what am I afraid will happen if I feel it? Question 5. Who hurt me the most, and can I forgive them? Question 6. How do I show up for others but fall short for myself? Question 7. What was the one time I remember feeling wronged as a child? How did I react? And has this affected me in adulthood? If so, how? Question 8. How can I be kinder to myself? In what ways do I unconsciously punish myself? Question 9. What is something I should forgive myself for? So question 10 isn't necessarily a question. It's more like a little bonus assignment for this week. Pretty much, question 10, assignment 10, is write a letter to a parent with everything you want to say to them. Now, if you grew up with your grandparents or aunts and uncles or anything like that, you can write a letter to them. This assignment is more so that you can just word vomit all over this page with everything you've ever wanted to say to them. I know sometimes it's very difficult to talk to your parents about maybe things that hurt you, things you saw, things they did, things they didn't do, because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to make them feel bad. You know, you don't want to cause a rift, an issue, or anything like that. So pretty much write a letter to whoever, everything you've ever wanted to say. And then when you're done, you can keep it, you can burn it, you can even give it to them if you feel comfortable, or you feel maybe that giving it to them is better for you than actually having this conversation with them. I prefer burning it, but that's just me. But yeah, that is the last one for this week. I hope you guys do work on all the questions this week, and you'll be surprised about some of the things that you'll discover about yourself and how it correlates and how it has something to do with the type of anxiety that you may be experiencing, where it's coming from. And from there, we can work on how to get rid of it naturally. So that is it for this week's video. I hope that you found it helpful, relatable, useful. Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. Like I said, it lets me know that this is something that you're interested in seeing and that it is somehow helping you out or you can send it to a friend and help them out. And yeah, it helps my little channel grow, my little community I'm trying to build grow. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great week, day, evening, whenever you're seeing this video. Till next time.